Children, welcome back to SST class. Children, today's date is 27 of July 2020 and it's Monday today. We shall recapitulate chapter number 1 in which we read about the beginning of the medieval history. I'll explain you chapter number 2 along with the short question and answer on page number 30. An assignment for today will be the reading of chapter and finding out tough words and their meanings with the help of dictionary. Hope children you have learned to see dictionary. Now summary for today's chapter will be a number of powerful empires arose in the northern India and Deccan between 8th and the 10th century, which is called the medieval period. Children, before going for the question answers, let's recall our chapter New Kingdoms. In the early medieval period, wars between different kingdoms were fought mostly for control over the strategic regions between the 8th and the 10th century CE. A number of Rajput empires arose in northern India and Deccan. So let's see who were these. The first were the Pratiharas of the western India, the Palas of Bengal and the Rashtrakutas of Deccan. These three regional powers were engaged in wars with one another to establish their control over the northern India and the important city of Kannauj, because Kannauj was the most fertile, situated at the banks of river Ganga. Take a screenshot of this map, dear children, so that you can easily see that. The Gujar Pratiharas. The Pratiharas established the state of Marwar in Rajasthan. The Pratihara dynasty reached its peak under the rule of Mihir Bhoja 836 to 890 CE. He is also known as Bhoj the Great. He established the state of Marwar in Rajasthan. He reached its peak under Mihir Bhoj, also known as Bhoja the Great, and its capital was at Kannauj. Take a screenshot again. Okay, dear children. He also expanded the kingdom to the east and made conquests in Punjab, Awadh, Malwa and Gujarat. He established his capital at Kannauj. The kingdom had a strong standing army and a fine cavalry. You all know, children, what is a cavalry? Yes. The Palas ruled over the states of the present-day Bengal, Bihar, parts of Odisha and Nepal. The Palas followed a policy of territorial expansion. Devpala and Mahipala first were some of the prominent rulers of this dynasty. They were just after the Gurjar Pratiharas. They ruled over the present-day Bihar, parts of Odisha and Nepal. Devpala and Mahipala were some of the most prominent rulers, and their empire eventually disintegrated in 12th century CE under the Khilji invasions. Rampala from 1082 to 1124 CE was the last great ruler of the dynasty. The empire eventually, as I have told you, disintegrated due to the invasions by Khilji dynasty. In Sanskrit, now we will read about Rashtrakutas. The word Rashtra means territory and Kuta means the chieftain. The Rashtrakuta rose to the prominence under the Danti Durga 752-756 CE. He was the founder of the dynasty by defeating the Chalukyas of Badami. Okay, dear children. So, what's the meaning of Rashtra? Means territory. These are the points I am making there. Okay, so take screenshot. Rose to prominence under Danti Durga by defeating Chalukyas of Badami region, and their kingdom ranged from Cape Comorin to Kannauj and from Banaras to Bharuch. Okay, dear children. So these were the Rashtrakutas. Okay, dear children. Now let's come to the children, please note the Rashtrakutas rulers were able administrators and great warriors too. Their invincible armies helped expand the kingdom from Cape of Comorin to Kannauj and from Banaras to Bharuch. Okay, Bharuch is in Gujarat. Okay, so please take screenshots along with the points. Now the administration. The king was the supreme authority. See here, the king is the supreme authority. Then he was the commander-in-chief of the army and was assisted by a council of ministers, as we have today. For the prime minister, for the chief minister, we have council of ministers. These were the most important being, Mahamantri they were called. Okay, and they advised him on various matters. The most important ministers, as I have told you, are called Mahamantri. Okay, and the head of the village was called Grampati. Grampati, Gram means the village. Okay, dear children. Now administration. The kingdom was divided into units called bhuktis, which were further divided into vishyas. The smallest unit was the village under the village headman, who was called Grampati. Okay, today he is called Sarpanch, but in the early times, at this age in the medieval period, he was called Grampati. Now social life. The caste system was the basis of the social life of the Rajputs. The Rajputs were the Kshatriyas and performed the duties of warriors, as you all know. Brahmins, Kshatriyas and Vaishyas, and the last caste was Shudras. Now they, along with the Brahmins means the priest, enjoyed the highest status in the society since this time. Okay, or maybe the earliest time. The Vaishyas were the merchants and traders who used to do business, also played an important role in the city administration. So Brahmins were the most prominent and higher class. Then Kshatriyas means the rulers, okay, the kings and the army men, and the Vaishyas were the merchants. The position of women declined during this period. Sati and child marriage was practiced. Polygamy was also common. Do you know, children, what is polygamy? More than one marriage. Okay, earlier you might know it was in our society prevailed that a person can have many wives at a time, but in our Hindu religion now it is not there. After new constitution has been adopted. Okay, it is a crime or a sin. Now agriculture was the main occupation of the people. Trade with Southeast Asia, China, the Mediterranean and the Western world flourished during this period. So trade had a great importance, and the relationship with other country too was there. The main exports were textiles, spices and precious stones. The merchants were wealthy and operated through guilds called Shrenis. Okay, dear children, this was called Shrenis. And each king issued his own coins. That's why coins are a helpful source to know the history of any ruler. Invasions in India were carried out by Mahmud of Ghazni and Muhammad Ghori. Mahmud of Ghazni had learned about the enormous wealth of India. Encouraged by this, he attacked 17 times Remember children, 17 times between 1001 CE to 1027 CE. Now this is a miniature depicting the invasions of India by Mahmud of Ghazni. He invaded places like Multan, Peshawar, which is now in Pakistan, Kangra, Thaneshwar, Kannauj, Mathura, Gwalior, Somnath temple. Remember dear children, Somnath, the temple made with gold and all that. He looted it a lot. Kashmir and Punjab. He did not wish to rule India. He only wanted to capture India's wealth. As you all know, our country, the golden bird, is famous since the ages. Okay, dear children. So that's why they people came to invade India. Now, Shahabuddin Muhammad Ghori ascended the throne of Ghazni after his brother Ghiyasuddin's death in 1202 CE. And after Prithviraj Chauhan's death, Muhammad Ghori became the master of Delhi region and eastern Rajasthan and laid the foundation of Turkish rule in India. This was really a very sad period for the history of our country. Now this painting shows or depicts the assassination of Muhammad Ghori over here. Muhammad Ghori did not stay in India. He left the provinces that he had conquered in the hands of his slaves who acted as his regional governors, and they set up the Delhi Sultanate. And this age is also called the slave age, or this dynasty is also called the slave dynasty. Okay. Now let's come to the Cholas. Okay, these are the points which describe this paragraph. You can again take a screenshot to recall it. The Cholas had dimmed into obscurity until they rose again in the 9th century CE under Vijayalaya. The Chola kingdom emerged as the strongest empire in South India between 800 CE and 1200 CE. Rajaraja I and Rajendra Chola were the most famous of the Chola kings, under whom the dynasty became a military, economic and cultural power. Understood, dear children? So, these all points show this. Rajaraja I, 985 to 1016 CE. Rajaraja I was a very powerful ruler. He defeated the Cheras as Trivandrum, the Pandyas, and at Madurai, the Chalukyas in the Deccan, and expanded his empire. With the help of a strong navy, he captured most of Sri Lanka and several small islands in the Bay of Bengal. Okay, you can see the picture of temple, the Brideshwar, Tanjore. Okay, he was an excellent administrator and ruled his empire quite efficiently. He is most well known for having constructed the beautiful this temple. Okay, Brihadeshwar temple in Tanjore is built. Okay, Tanjore is built by him only. Now Rajendra Chola. Rajaraja first. Chola. Rajaraja first was succeeded by his son Rajendra Chola. He completed the conquest of Sri Lanka that his father had begun. So father is Rajaraja first and his son is Rajendra Chola. He succeeded the throne. Rajendra Chola crossed the river Ganga and defeated Mahipala, the ruler of Bengal. Okay, he assumed the title of Gangai Konda, or the conqueror of the Ganga. Ganga was an important fertile part. Okay, he laid the foundation of a new city called Gangai Kond Chola Puram to commemorate his victory in North India. After his long rule, Rajendra Chola was succeeded by his three sons, one after the other. The Chola Empire was divided into provinces called mandalams, and princes of the royal household were appointed as governors of these mandalams. Okay, this is the central government Cholas empire, and this was divided among the princes. These were called mandalams. Okay, dear children. Now these mandalams were divided into district, like we Bhilwara district. Okay, in the same manner that time districts were divided and they were called Velenadus. Okay, and these Velenadus were divided into group of villages called Nadu. Okay, like we have Gram or the Gaon village today, in the same manner, and every Nadu was further divided into villages. So this was the administration, how Cholas divided into these parts. Take a screenshot to learn it properly. Okay, the central government, Chola Empire, Mandalam, Valanadu and Nadu. Villagers had assemblies which were gatherings of all adult male members. The Brahmana village assembly was called Sabha, while the Velala or the non-Brahmana village assembly was called the Ur. Understood, dear children? So these were the important, you can say, this administration and trade powers in Chola Empire. The Sabha helped the king's government to measure the land that was under cultivation. They calculated how much tax each person had to pay and then to collect the land revenue, as we give today also. Okay, for different business professions, etc. People could pay their tax in kind like grains or in cash. Okay, so it was grain means as a part of a barter system. Okay, or cash means money, whichever the currency was there. The Sabha also maintained roads, temples and water tanks and settled all disputes about land, water and irrigation. Its judicial committee could impose the fines and punish criminals. The Sabha was also responsible for making irrigation canals. So children, you can see how efficient the administration was in that time, and it was a very helpful source for us today to manage everything. Same manner we have the government to build roads, temples, water tanks and settle disputes. We have judiciary over there. Okay. Now the Cholas had a flourishing trade with Southeast Asia and China. Kaveri, Pattinam and Nagapattinam were the chief ports. Okay, seaports. The main items of trades were glassware, camphor, cotton goods, brocades, ivory, sandalwood, perfumes and precious stones. All important things, precious things, as you see in this. Okay, no general items. So these were all the trade and relations you can see with other countries, with China and Southeast Asia. The Chola inscription. The main sources of Chola information about the Chola dynasty are the numerous Chola inscriptions. As we discussed in the previous chapter, how inscriptions are helpful for us. These inscriptions give us information about the military achievements of the rulers and provide details of land grants, donations and revenue collection. See the picture carefully. This is an ancient Tamil inscription on the walls of the Brihadeshwara temple. Okay, dear children. So this was also important. Hope you have understood everything, children. So this was the recap. Now we shall be going for the question and answers. Children, Please open page number 30. Take your pencils in your hand to fill the answers. Fill in the blanks with appropriate words. First, most historians agree that the Rajputs belong to the Kshatriya caste. As I have told you, Brahmins, then Kshatriyas were the rulers or the kings. So Rajputs were the kings, they are Kshatriyas. Now next, the Pratihara dynasty reached its peak under the rule of Mihir Bhoja. Write down Pratihara. Children, please take a screenshot and write correct spelling. Third, the word Rashtra means territory. Okay. The second battle of Tarain was fought in 1192 CE. Okay. Next, a bigger Nadu was called Vela Nadu. Now choose the correct answers. You have to only tick mark. Gopala was the founder of the Pala dynasty. Next, the main capital of Rashtrakutas was Manya Kheta. Okay, this is the fourth option, Manya Kheta. Now next, Al-Biruni and Firdausi lived in the court of Mahmud of Ghazni. Mark second one. Next, which ruler captured Sri Lanka in the 11th century CE? It is Rajendra Chola. Next, the Brahmana assembly was known as the Sabha. Okay, dear children. Now we have to match the column. So write in Roman the numbers. Suryavanshi, fourth. That means Rajputs. Chieftains. That means the third answer, Kuta. Okay. Next, Rashtrakutas, the fifth, Danti Durga. Write 5 in Roman. Now, Sabutagin, he was the father of Ghazni. So write 2, okay, in Roman. Cholas, first, copper plate inscriptions were introduced in the Chola period. Now we have to write true or false and we have to correct the false statement. So the Palas ruled over the present day Bihar and Bengal. Yes, it's true. I have told you. Prithviraj Chauhan won the first battle of Tarain. Yes, true. Second, he was defeated. Mahmud of Ghazni was interested in building a large empire in India. No, instead of India, you have to write Asia. And this is a false statement. So write false. And correct the word instead of India, it is Asia. Next, Rajendra Chola assumed the title of Gangaikonda because he won the region near Ganga. So it is true. The Chola kings recorded land grants through copper plate inscriptions. Yes, it's true. Okay, dear children. Other questions we shall discuss in the next class.